I feel like I just realized why Flat Earth went mainstream Christianity in the past year or two, and I am so mind blown. It feels like God orchestrated it to foil the enemy's plan. I can't sleep right now, and this just popped into my head. When I first started posting about like Flat Earth and like the biblical ties, I remember the first video I ever made, I was like, yeah, I took a flight and I was like looking out the window, and I had been on plenty of flights before that for different reasons. I'm looking out the window and it was like a veil was torn off my eyes because I remember being like, is the earth flat? Like, I think the earth is flat. And I'm looking at like the plane map that's like on the back of the seats, like the digital map, and I'm like, and mind you, I was never exposed to like any flat earth content like ever. I was not a conspiracy theorist in any way, shape, or form. So I'm looking at the map. As a person that was pretty familiar with what like world maps looked like, I did well in geography and stuff. And I sat for the rest of the plane ride, I didn't have Wi-Fi, thinking, oh my gosh, I think they're lying. I think the earth is flat. So then I got online because I wanted like people to talk to about it. Like I wanted to originally create like some kind of group to like talk to people that like might also think that. And at first, the way that people would revile me was insane. Like I had people that were identifying as Christian saying that they were going to off me, that I was like destroying the gospel and all of this stuff. And then it seemed like one day everything went viral and everybody just started like having sudden realizations like, oh yeah, it is flat and the Bible does say that it's flat with a firmament above us. Like, I'm not kidding. I remember several occasions thinking to myself, like, God has to be opening people's eyes to this, like, so that they believe the Bible more. That's what I was initially thinking, and yes, I think that is true. But like the way that it went from like everybody calling me names and stuff to like everybody like being like, oh yeah, it is semi-flat, or like at least willing to give it a try. I remember always thinking like it felt divinely orchestrated in some way, and it just clicked to me why. And pretty much anytime I would post things about flat biblical earth, the video would immediately have like a flag on it or like a notification telling me that it was going to be suppressed because it was like against guidelines or whatever. But every single time it would somehow reach like millions of views with very high engagement, which like that doesn't happen. If you're a creator, you know that does not happen. Even when they would take my videos down, a lot of times they'd randomly just be like back up and they'd garner like another couple 100,000 views. And it seemed like they were clamoring to get flat earth content like off of the internet. This definitely had to be God foiling their plan right before it happened, because we're about to have alien disclosure. And if you haven't seen my other videos about Noah's Ark in the sky, as well as judgment being like aliens, like judgment and the return, they're gonna frame it as aliens, because biblically accurate angels, a lot of them look like machines. And a lot of them look like what they've primed us to believe aliens look like. Same thing with the Ark. And a lot of people are mad at me right now, but it's the exact same way that it was when I first started talking flat earth. That is why I believe God is waking people up to the fact that they live among us, the reptilian shapeshifters. David says there's lizards in king's palaces. The serpent is a talking, walking serpent. The ancient dragon comes back. Jesus calls the Pharisees vipers. Paul says Satan's workers transform themselves as workers of righteousness and apostles of Christ. The word for transform is rooted in metamorphosis. So it's not like a devil wearing a fake mustache, guys. It is shapeshifters. Every single culture ever has pictures drawn, painted, and writings that include shape-shifting reptilians.
Don't need to debate any Christian. I was a Christian. Muslim. If you want, I can give you both sides, easy. But he will ask you if you delivered the message. I'll play both parts. I'll be the Christian and tell you this, and then I'll be the Muslim and give the answer.
Anytime one of these videos comes on my feed, I'm like, how does this have like 100,000 likes? Like, people do not have any discernment. Now, if I got on here with snake eyes, like slits for pupils, and my teeth visibly shifting, I feel that everybody would notice. But because it's these guys.
Okay, she might be right.
For UNICEF, which is an amazing organization that works in over 150 countries. And my job was to meet with teenagers who were living in exclusion, who were living in extreme poverty or living with HIV, and write their story.
I am a rich Jew backed by a richer Jew.
Do you really believe that human beings are demons?
No, I do not. And don't you ever say I did.
Kenneth Copeland is highly obvious. Look at the eye shape. Look at how he is. this is a reptilian. But most people are already showing that they would not recognize a snake if it looked like an angel of light with Christian theology.
I'm here to say welcome to the spiritual war. If you're not aware of it, put on the armor, stand your post, you're a woman of the word.
Watch the eyes and the teeth. The eyes are shifting to reptile eyes and the teeth are sharp and reptilian. I'm not saying this to be a bully. I think that she's very obviously beautiful, but I do not think that this situation is at all what we think it is.
Ask a man who's a great man, actually, one of the great men of our country, Kenneth Copeland, to come up and say a prayer.
Shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took...
No, I'm not a poor baby. I'm more reptilian. Come in and win the election.
We're going to take a short break. I want to talk to you more about President Biden.
We're different from the presidential. We're very discreet. Reptilian.
And you might say, well, why would a shapeshifter want to preach the gospel? To point you towards this. Every single sus, or at least sus to me, Christian public figure, they all believe in globe theory, and I would bet anything that they're gonna point all of the people that look to them for everything to this being like aliens from outer space and or just completely demonic, because Revelation says that Satan will deceive the whole world into encompassing the camp of the saints, which I believe is what I call Noah's Ark in the sky in those videos. It's New Jerusalem, and they've spent a long time pre-framing the perspective of the masses as to what it is. That's why we just had that viral clip like last year of Wernher von Braun's secretary coming out and saying, he told me one thing, to not forget one thing, that in the end, the last deception, to remember that it was not aliens. Wernher von Braun is the founder of NASA. And his tombstone said Psalm 19:1. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork. And it's wild to me. I feel like it's been in our face the whole time. Like the They Live movie. Like, yes, the Bible also says he sends fiery serpents among us as judgment. Among us. They live among us. So that they can deceive the masses into truly believing that it's not the return. It's aliens or whatever else. I think it's a form of separating wheat from tares. Like, do you believe the word of God truly? Do you pray and ask God and like ask for confirmation truly? And I think that's why it's going mainstream, that all these guys are literally reptiles. They're snakes. I mean, Trump literally like said a poem at all of his rallies that was titled, "I'm a snake." But personally, I think that a lot of people need to wake up to the fact that they're in religion too. Like, they are going to be the leaders of everything, of every religion, of all politics, of all Hollywood. They're like the leaders. Like, I know it sounds crazy because I honestly thought this was crazy like 6 months ago. But yeah, I also think the conspiracy that reptilian shapeshifters run everything is true. I'm just so mind blown, like the whole thing with flat earth. It has to be this. It has to be.